Hey, it's Dan from The Plague. Welcome to another album review. This time, Nelson and I are going to be taking a look at the latest from Kreator, one of the forefathers, founding German thrash bands out there still doing it.
Well said.
This is their 15th album, studio album. And yeah, they've been going since, I think the first album was 85, if I'm not mistaken. Still two original members, Ventor and Mile Petroza, the guitarist and vocalist. Ventor is the drummer. I always think of Sammy, the other guitarist, as like one of the new guys, but he's actually been in the band for more than 20 years now.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands like that where you're like, oh, he's not one of the originals. He's only been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then they just a few years ago added a new bass player, Frederick Leclerc, in 2019. So, and this is the first album they've recorded since he joined the band. So yeah, my first thoughts out of the gate are I quite enjoyed this album. I think it's definitely fits right in with what they've been doing lately, but there are some differences to it that we'll get into later. But what was your initial?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. It's like, especially after hearing, the first song, I think I heard it as when they did the video for it. Well, the second song, technically, the Hey Über, the title number, which is, one of the more up-tempo, faster songs on the album. And so right away I had that impression, oh, this is going to be just like I expect. And in a lot of ways it is. I think, they really delivered, and you can tell they took their time. And I think some of that time, I think it's like, what was it? It's been since 2017 since they did their last album, though no doubt COVID played some role in that, not getting one done sooner. But yeah, you can tell it's well crafted. Sounds just like Kreator almost throughout.
Yes.
Yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed this album. I thought it was in some ways kind of a breath of fresh air, even though it is just kind of, to me, it feels like a continuation of their last album, but it's been such a long time. It was kind of like, enough time had passed. It was nice to hear more of that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into some of the songs here. So album starts off with a minute-long intro called Sergio Corbucci is Dead, which is a reference to spaghetti Western director, and has definitely that feel to it.
Yes, and he has been dead since 1990, so it's
1990,
absolutely
okay.
True.
I thought it was kind of a cool song, and it builds up nicely, but it also feels kind of out of place compared to everything else on the album. Like, it just seems kind of random.
Yeah. Yes.
So I could take it or leave it, but anyways, it goes right into the title track, Hey Über,
Right.
which, like you said, is just really straightforward, pummeling.
Yes,
Classic
the drums
Kreator.
are like right up front, right away. Which, by the way, I'm going to say it many times. The drums on this album are incredible.
Yeah.
The guy is just amazing, and the sound that they got, the recording, it works very, very well for fast, aggressive thrash music.
Absolutely. Yeah, this song, it kind of reminded me of like Angel of Death. It has that like just real, like just straight into it, has a big scream at the beginning.
Yes.
It's got the double bass, not throughout, every single part of the song, but like really effective when the parts that it's in. And his vocal delivery on this too is like really rapid fire, which is like even more than usual for Millet. So
yes, his vocals work again like really, really well with this style of music. It's like a perfect marriage. And I thought this over and over again throughout the album. A lot of the sort of riffs and arrangements and like that, the way that this song starts have a very thrash throwback feel to me, but done in a modern way. Which I really enjoyed. I thought it was a very cool. I mean, I like fast, aggressive thrash music. So, having an album that really pays homage to that, it sounds just like a lot of the types of riffs you would have heard Kreator play, but done in a very modern, up-to-date way. Really enjoyed that, and obviously that Hey Über Alice kicks that off. And like you said, it's not like start to finish, one tempo, anything like that. It's well crafted, and the rest of the songs follow suit to that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it leads directly into Killer Jesus, the next track, to the point where I almost like when I first listened to this album, I thought it was kind of the same song, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a new song.
Very long song.
Very long song, yeah. And this one's just about as intense. It's got, I think the main difference is it's got this kind of like kind of longer bridge part in the middle. It's a little more different from the rest of the song. And strangely enough, the main riff on the bridge, I don't know if you picked up on this, but it reminds me a lot of the opening riff to the song Anthrax from Fistful of Metal.
Uh-huh. Interesting. I did not catch that, but yeah.
Go back and listen to that. Just tell me if I'm crazy, but
well, you know.
Yeah. But again, another excellent song. This one goes into Crush the Tyrants, which is a first kind of slower, kind of has more of a marching heaviness to it.
Very grindy, kind of, especially for Kreator. I mean, it's very not super fast.
Right. Which I think I've seen some kind of mixed reviews on this album so far, and I think that's one of the complaints that people have. It's like, oh, it's not all like super fast, brutal Kreator. It's like, well, they've done that, first of all, and I get so bored with albums that are just one note like that throughout the whole thing. So I think it's really cool that they're like mixing up the arrangements, the atmospheres.
I frankly wouldn't mind either way. I think if you have if you want to do like just an intense fast album all the way through, I'm fine with that. Or if you want to sit down and craft it really, like it feels to me like they did this, craft it in, have varying tempos. It's probably a lot more work to do that. And if you can pull it off, I think it's super effective. And this album does pull that off, in my opinion. But yeah, I could definitely see that as a potential criticism. If you were expecting the whole thing to be just nonstop. That might be a surprise to you. It was a little bit of a surprise to me, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. And certainly songs like this, Crush the Tyrants, was it made that very clear. That's what they were doing. They're not just going all out all the way through.
Yeah.
Even in any particular song, even the faster songs, I thought had a lot of good variation in tempo, and like a lot of work went into it. You can feel that.
Strongest of the Strong is the next one. It's another one of the ones they released ahead of the album, and it's a little more mid-tempo too, but it kind of reminds me of like People of the Lie. It's kind of got that little more catchy chorus and riff.
It's more mid-paced, but then it also has sort of the double bass under the slightly slower guitar parts of it, which is, I think, a great technique that a lot of people don't necessarily use. And I thought the riffs were really cool, and I thought the solos and sort of fills that were in there were very good and very, again, well thought out. And of course, just impeccably delivered and recorded. They're very good at the technical side of things these days.
Absolutely. Become Immortal, I think, was the first song that really felt like kind of a left field thing. And I really quite enjoyed it. It sounds more to me like almost classic heavy metal, kind of like interpreted through the Kreator lens,
Yeah.
And I mean, the lyrics are even kind of about like, the early part of the band, and
that's pretty interesting. I'm sure that, by no coincidence, right?
Yeah. And I really like this one. I thought it was a really cool thing to have at this point in the album too. It kind of makes a nice break. So it's not sort of the pacing and just the way that the album is put together. You have your highs and lows, which, this definitely fits into that. I enjoyed that. Conquer and Destroy. This one again was kind of a weird mix. It starts off with kind of this melodic thing that makes you think it's going to be one of the more mellow songs in the album, but then the verses are just like really intense and heavy and fast. And really the chorus part, the chorus part actually reminded me of Iron Maiden. Interesting. in a lot of ways. And I don't know if I've ever listened to a Kreator and gone, wow, that sounds like Iron Maiden. Yeah, right.
I definitely got that sort of classic metal vibe in places, which was neat. I enjoyed that.
Um, Midnight Sun, another one of the ones that released ahead of time with a really interesting video.
Right.
Probably the most off the wall track on the album. It's got like some really fast, like the main riff is actually pretty fast, but
Super
it's
fast.
not,
Yeah.
the rhythm behind it isn't. And
yeah, that's interesting.
And then they also incorporated some female vocals, courtesy of, I'm going to get this name wrong, Sophia Portinet.
Yep.
Who's apparently popular, I think, more like post-punk kind of singer in Germany. So
okay, I didn't actually look into who she was, so I didn't get that background. That's cool. I think that's super cool, actually.
And it's like, again, I'm sure people will be like, what is this? What's going on? This is not Kreator, you know.
A little bit experimental, I guess I would call it. And a couple other songs on the album kind of went in that direction too, which again, I kind of like it when bands try interesting things. Of course, if it doesn't work for you, then it's not as much of a positive. But yeah, I enjoyed this song. I feel like I keep saying that. I enjoyed this.
Enjoyed this one too, yeah. It kind of reminded me of like when Celtic Frost did Into the Pandemonium. Like, you know, at the time, I think a lot of people were like, what the hell is this? But it's like, I mean, in retrospect now, it's like, it's really cool that they did that experimentation. You know, had a huge influence on other bands that came later. So I like to see bands like Kreator, like, especially this far into their career, not playing it safe and actually trying some new ideas.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I also thought that the Celtic Frost connection as well, which might just be whenever some thrash band throws in some random sort of operatic female vocals. I instantly think that.
Demonic Future is, I think, to me, felt like one of the more traditional sounding Kreator songs.
Very thrashy.
Yeah, it didn't really like stand out as much as some of the other tracks, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think if I listen to it in isolation, it's still like, wow, this is a really good, solid Kreator song.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Pride Comes Before the Fall. This one was a little strange. It opens with some kind of like clean vocals from Millet, which, you know, you get once in a while, but pretty rarely. And I'm always it's not always my favorite thing that he does, but it works. I think here to a point.
Right. Yeah, I thought particularly on this one, for some reason, just the mix and the recording on the drums made them they were just really pounding. I felt like that it was really super effective. And I think that's, you know, it's a tribute to the production, which we didn't mention. The producer, Arthur Rizk, he did a fantastic job. And I think just sort of varying the mix sometimes and bringing the elements forward that really need to be, this is a great example of that, where there's parts where the drums are just super front and center, really pounding feeling.
Yeah, especially during the chorus, I seem to remember on this one, there's kind of the double bass is used like really effectively.
Yep.
And then the final track is the longest by far on the album. It's called Dying Planet. It's much slower. It's a little lethargic, it feels like.
Yeah.
Especially after everything else on the album.
I honestly wish they had done like a more of a traditional closer, you know, like they definitely did a traditional opener, maybe bring it back to that for the closer to really round it out.
Right.
But I agree. This was kind of one of the more different songs on the album, and the last song on the album, which is, I don't know if I would call it a complaint, but I thought one of the things that maybe could have been done better. I enjoyed the song though. Again,
yeah.
It struck me as experimental for sure.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of like Slayer's slower songs, like Seasons in the Abyss or something.
Interesting.
You know, kind of got that little more grandiose feel to it.
Right.
Especially towards the end when the clean guitars come back in and you have like these little drum fills underneath. It's the kind of thing that Slayer used to do all the time. Really effectively, I might add.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the tracks. It's a good length album. It doesn't feel like it's overstaying its welcome.
Right.
There's a couple songs that I don't like as much as some of the others, but not to the point where it feels like they're filler. Like you said,
Right.
it does feel like everything is pretty well thought out on here. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the performances and the production.
Yeah.
Arthur Risk, I thought, was a really good choice for this. He's done some albums by the Eternal Champion, which is the band he's in, and then he's
Oh,
also
okay.
done like Power Trip, Sacred Reich, Unto Others, a whole bunch of different bands across, different subgenres of metal too, which is cool.
That's cool.
And yeah, I just feel like his production here is just, it really brings that. It's a punchy drum sound, but it's still very organic.
Yeah.
And doesn't feel robotic at any point, like so many modern metal albums tend to.
That was my first take when I listened to this. It was super well recorded. Like each part is separate and individual, but then the way they're mixed together, they don't feel separate. They feel like they're really part of a whole without ever feeling mushy or losing parts of it or anything like that. It was very organic feeling mix, which I think is probably even harder to do, than having everything super separated and or having everything feel mushy too. That can easily happen with super fast music where everything's really loud.
Yeah. And it seemed like they were using a lot more like reverb, like on some of the like the gang vocals on some of the choruses.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it didn't feel like it was just like turning into, a big mushy mess.
Yeah.
I didn't look to see who mixed this, if he mixed it as well.
Oh,
but
you know what?
Whoever mixed it did a great job too.
Yeah, I didn't write that down either, which is interesting because it is, I feel like, a lot of it is the recording, the engineering, but then also the mix played a big part in this kind of feeling like super cohesive, super well put together. Yeah, I didn't write that down for some reason.
And then as far as the performances go, I mean, everyone is pretty much at, top form. I think, like you mentioned earlier, Ventor's drumming is just like that guy is severely underrated. Like I always feel like he's done some just amazing work over the years, and
yeah,
never gets called out the way some other drummers do.
Yeah, that guy is incredible. When I was reading up about him, it sounds like he does tattooing as well. He's a tattoo artist, has his own shop. It would be really interesting to see what kind of tattoos he does.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, his drumming is just impeccable, like really, really stand out.
The album cover is another thing that really struck me about this. It's done by Eleron Cantor, who's been like just all over the place lately. Like he's just been doing covers for everybody from Halloween to Testament to
oh wow,
My Dying Bride. He did a lot of Satan album covers that were just killer.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I really liked it. Like I feel like it's kind of like the music. Like it has a little bit more of a organic look to it. It doesn't look like it's done like in a computer, like from start to finish. And it's just got a very visceral feel to it that like some of the early Kreator album covers did.
Yeah, I admit I haven't actually looked at it that closely. One of the major drawbacks of having CDs, I guess, and not having large scale album covers. I'll have to check it out. Sadly I have not checked that out enough. It sounds like.
I ordered this on LP, and of course it's not here yet.
Wow. Yeah.
Like all LPs these days.
Or like everything these days.
Like everything, yeah. So yeah, I think, and in conclusion, I just found this to be a really strong Kreator album and just a great album in general. I think if I had to compare it to the last few, it's definitely, to me, it almost feels like what the last album could have been. Like that was kind of aspiring towards, because they were kind of introducing a little bit more melody and a little bit more experimentation on that one.
A little more mid-paced stuff.
Yeah.
At times.
But I didn't feel like the songs themselves were as good as the ones here. So Yeah, I think, and again, of course, it's like it's the freshest in my mind, so it's like maybe a year or two from now that I'll have a different opinion. But it just feels like out of all the modern, since they've kind of returned to their thrash sound, it's other than maybe Hordes of Chaos. This is probably my favorite album.
Yeah, Hordes of Chaos is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, that has some great songs on it.
Some of the riffs on this album that reminded me the most of, oh, that's a Kreator riff, really reminded me of Hordes of Chaos, which I guess is absolutely understandable. I would totally agree. I think it's a really strong album. I don't think it's necessarily, even though they stepped out of the box in some ways, in a few places, it's nothing like super surprising. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe Kreator, whatever.
Yeah.
It feels like the next Kreator album. It feels really strong to me. I think I would agree. I like it. And again, maybe that's just because it's the most fresh in my mind. I like it a little bit better than the last one. Which honestly, I was surprised when I looked back and saw how long ago that last one was. It's like, oh my God, time flies. Time flies when you have COVID, I guess.
I guess so.
But yeah, I thought a really strong album. No super surprises, just like the same stuff done the next step better, I thought was kind of what my takeaway from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's the album I would recommend someone who's never heard Kreator to get the band, but it's not a bad one either. Like it's as far as the modern albums go, I think it's probably the most accessible one, actually.
Yeah, I would say, probably I would say it is, and it's one of the stronger ones for sure. It would be interesting to recommend Kreator to somebody who hadn't heard Kreator before and try to figure out, because I mean they've had such a long career, and really their sound has evolved along with the very genre that they helped define.
Right.
That'd be an interesting task. Just sit down and listen to all of them back to back, and then you'll get it.
Yeah, they've really gone through a lot of different eras, and I it's one of the few bands I feel like has always delivered strong albums, and no matter what they tried. Like I know, like Endorama and Outkast, people kind of shied away from those because they were more melodic and more experimental and whatnot. But you sit down and listen to those albums now, and there's still some great songs on there.
Oh yeah, especially Outkast for me is really 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 good. I agree, and it's like I listen to their really old stuff, like the reissues that came out recently. I got way back into all that stuff, and every era when they were doing stuff, they might have been doing slightly different things during that era, but they performed really well, like really high. I mean, they're Germans, come on, they do everything high quality. Meticulous detail.
That's right.
No, but seriously, they considering how long they've been doing it and how much the genres has kind of varied over the years, that they're consistently hitting it and doing like a standout job is pretty impressive.
Pretty amazing. So that is our take on the new Kreator album. We'd love to see what people watching this think. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different opinions on this one, but it's kind of why we like to pick the bigger albums to review, both of us, because just to kind of get that variety.
Yeah, it could easily be an album that I could see different people having very different opinions on.
Yes.
Even though, like I said, it wasn't a surprising album to me, but yeah.
The same here. Yeah. Like you said, it definitely felt like an evolution from the last album. Like it wasn't like, we're going to do Load now, right. That kind of thing. Or even the Black album wasn't even that drastic,
Right. For sure. Absolutely.
On that note, if you guys enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, take it easy and stay metal.